Well, good morning, ChrissieCasters. On this glorious day, I have spun the wheel and landed on Foodies, which is a real interest area of mine. This foodie is a little different, and it's not just his porn stash that makes him so. Zacchary Bird is a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, a junk food connoisseur, and also just happens to make all of it plant-based. The guy's a genius. I'm talking crispy bacon, fried chicken drumsticks, pain au chocolat, cannoli, oh my God, and all with the goal of perfecting every recipe known to mankind but vegan. He's certainly set himself a challenge. Zacchary Bird, welcome to the ChrissieCast.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a big life mission, but someone has to do it, you know.
When did you come up with this idea?
Oh, about the time I went vegan and no one had vegan cannoli for me. And I was like, far out. I've got to bloody figure out how to do these myself.
How long have you been a vegan?
10 years. 10 years plus. So it's been a long time of seeing things I can't eat and going, well, right, well, that's my mission statement for this month.
I love this so much. When did you decide what was going on in your life that you went, actually, I'm not eating meat anymore?
Oh, look, I went vegetarian as a teenager, I think mainly for attention. And then as I became an adult and I was like, oh, how do I sort of qualify this with the rest of my my personality? I was like, oh, I really like this community and I really like this way of living. And I didn't really have
kind, isn't it? It feels good.
Yeah, and I didn't really have a relationship with food, so I think I like the challenge of it. Like, if I can complete this mission or this task, then I'm rewarded with perhaps the world's only vegan turducken or cannoli or what have you. And yeah, like, it makes me feel special.
What is in the cannoli instead of ricotta?
Well, see, you can make your own ricotta, but I feel like you're trying too hard to make something that's not going to taste like a real ricotta. Right. So I go the other direction. You know, you got like custard cannoli, you got choc chip cannoli, you've got caramel, and I'm a very impartial to lemon and pistachio, which I would wager is the best kind of cannoli.
You're so clever. When you first went vegetarian, so I'm thinking, what are you, in your late 20s, mid-20s now?
Early 30s. Love you for that, though.
See, the vegan lifestyle.
God bless you.
Shaves decades off. So you were in your early 20s when you went vegetarian?
Sure. Or vegetarian when I was like 13. I was in high school.
Right,
I was doing like protest assignments where my art assignment was a piece of mince on a plate, and I'd go, well, it's meant to make you think.
I love it. It's like that banana recently.
I sort of pioneered that. I didn't want to, take away from that artist, but
get an original idea.
Me doing that 15 years ago.
Did you get sick of toast? Because I also went vegetarian, probably for attention as well, and it was just toast and toast.
See, Vegemite on toast is still a treat for me, I think, because I cook such complex things all day long. Like, that's actually my...
Are you allowed to have Vegemite? Isn't that a beef extract?
I am allowed Vegemite. And, yeah, a yeast extract.
It's yeast, not beef, of course. Thinking Bonox.
B12, it's actually good. It's good for you. I'm trying to work in Vegemite everywhere I go.
How good is Vegemite?
It's an Australian icon.
What's the weirdest thing that you've ever put Vegemite in and had it work?
Well, see, this is the thing. Vegemite is one of the big secrets for vegan cooking because it's got all that umami and savoury. So if I'm making like a beef-style broth, I'm actually putting Vegemite in there. Vegemite stays strong in all my recipes. I just don't tell you about it.
I've got carried away. We haven't spun the wheel again. We're going to spin the wheel and see what comes up as what was supposed to be the first question before we let it get away from us. Oh, yes, this is the first time it's spun up on compatibility quickfire.
Hell yeah.
The first question is about chicken. If you were going to eat a chicken, would you go for the leg/thigh or would you go for the breast? This will say whether or not you and I are compatible.
Wow, I am making up an answer out at my wazoo right now. I would... the breast
the drumstick and thigh or the breast?
Oh, I'm a drumstick man. My first viral recipe was a vegan chicken drumstick with a bone made out of cauliflower that I handcrafted like Michelangelo himself. So I'm a drumstick man through and through.
So am I.
Yeah.
I'm also a drumstick man, but that means we're incompatible because imagine one chicken. Sounds like a very sus thing.
See, this is
one chicken and two of us. And we're both going for the legs.
I've got good news for you. As the vegan butcher, I can make us a chicken that's all drumstick. It's just sort of maybe like some biblical-looking angel of just drumsticks all the way around,
Oh my God.
And that's the wonderful thing about veganism is like you know, there's lots of assets, but my thing is we are not constrained by rules. If I want to make a chicken entirely out of drumsticks, baby, I'm making one for us.
Oh my God, I can see like the crown I wore when I was Queen of Moomba. Maybe that's the next step for you. I had the best cashew cheese I've ever had in my life when I was in the jungle on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And
That's where you found the best cashew cheese.
that's where I found it. And I'll tell you the story behind it.
Please.
So normal meat eaters, which I am, would get a certain menu. But Maureen McCormack, who you may or may not know from her role as Marsha Brady on the Brady Bunch,
Oh, yeah.
she's a vegetarian, maybe even a vegan, actually. She's a vegan. So she
She's got upgraded in the
I know, she's so fancy. She got a special little meal, right? Anyway, meat eaters got things like ostrich neck, just fucking disgusting food.
I concur.
An ostrich egg that was so big it looked like it was full of that, like the goo that comes out of the alien's jaw in Alien. Like it was just disgusting.
Face hugger for dinner.
Yes. And then after about 2 weeks of it, I went, fuck it, I'm going to say I'm vegan too because your stuff is delicious. So then I was like, I can't. I'm a vegan now. And I got this little portion of cashew cheese and I've never tried it since or before. Where can I get?
Well, what's the bet? It was pretty crap cashew cheese, but you just eaten so poorly for so long that this was, your drink of water at the Oasis, maybe.
That's exactly. Do you make your own?
Of course I make my own.
How do I make it?
You soak those cashews down, you blend them with a little secret called nutritional yeast, which you'll find at any little... Oh, you can find it at Coles and Woolies.
What's your nickname for it? Newty.
Newt. Newt. Oh, when you're on a first name basis with our vitamin source, but it tastes like a smoky, cheesy flavour. So regardless of whether you're trying to replace cheese for something that's super healthy to taste so delicious, it's a great asset.
So you soak the cashews.
Get them nice and creamy, and then you blend that with like a garlic clove and nutritional yeast, maybe a little capful of vinegar, and you're done.
And is it solid like a bocconcini or a
So that's
mozzarella?
going to make you like a cream cheese, and that's when you'd kind of go through that same cheese making process of put it in a cheesecloth and let that extra liquid drip out. And
Yes.
you can control your firmness
It's
that
like
way.
I make glubner that way from yogurt.
Exactly.
Do you think that more people would be vegan if they knew what you knew?
Well, I've been pretty loud about it. I think the thing that I find I get to show people is that accessibility of I think everyone knows probably why I'm a vegan, and it's not a big surprise. You're like, oh my God, I've never heard that. No one's coming from that perspective. They're more going, I get why.
Yeah.
It's not very sexy. And, I'm a junk food connoisseur, as you said earlier, and I'm the butcher and the baker. And so I think that's why my life mission is being like, I shall not compromise.
What is the best vegan junk food copy that you have achieved?
Well, see, I'll bring you into the forefront of breaking technology.
Yes, please.
Because just last night, I finally found... Have you had a lion's mane mushroom?
Yes.
They are gorgeous, but they're so expensive.
They're so expensive. I was going to say they're so expensive.
I always look for them, and that you can buy a little thing of powder for $70. I'm like, how's that going to feed 6 for dinner? Anyway, I finally found them in their dried version, which is very hard to find in Australia, much cheaper. And I made Indonesian crispy chili chicken last night with it, and it was a revelation.
I'm salivating.
Oh my God, ayam geprek, where you make really crispy chicken and then you make a fresh sambal.
Can I say, that sounds really delicious, but is there a better vegan fast food, junk food than the bird's eye potato gem straight out of the bag?
Can humanity achieve more than we already have?
I don't think so, Zach. They are magic.
They are magic. I do concur. Have you had the I don't know if they're still around. McCain's had like cheesy smiles or something.
Yes.
They were accidentally vegan. They tried not to tell anyone, but you know.
How could they be vegan and have cheesy in the title?
I think that's why they didn't want to tell anyone they were vegan, because they were using the word cheesy, but they were.
Cashew cheese, maybe.
Yeah, they heard the podcast.
How do you have your coffee?
How do I have my coffee? Black, first thing in the morning, and in a litre volume. I own an iced coffee cafe, so I feel like it's my duty to start the day with a litre of cold brew.
So sorry, she's calling me back.
You're right.
Mum,
Yes.
do you know how to preheat an oven?
Yes. So
How do you do it?
So, sorry, Zach, I'm at work and my kids are still on
Right, I can
school
help if you
holidays. So, you know how there's two knobs on the far right of the oven?
Yes.
Are you standing in front of it now?
Yes.
Okay. Turn the left one to the right. And it'll be like a Mercedes symbol almost. Oh, we're FaceTiming. Okay. Yes. And you go boom, boom.
And then I need to do 165.
That's it.
So,
What are you cooking?
what was cookies?
Oh, are they vegan?
No.
Hang up.
Should they be?
Well, I am with Zacchary Bird, so just say that they are.
Okay.
All right, you sort of don't forget to put the timer on or they'll burn. Let me have a close look at that setting for a minute. Not that.
I haven't made it, but it's set to preheat it.
Yep, that's it.
And is that how do you make 165?
You see the
You think that's
160 and just a bit. No, that's good. That's good.
okay? Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Love you. Bye. How do you make a good vegan choc chip cookie?
You followed my recipe.
Tell me what's in it.
Look, the secret, it's very
I don't
similar.
have any
it's
of your
not-
books.
That's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
I mean, cookies don't rely too heavily on things like eggs or dairy, so it's very one of the simpler ones to sort of one for one. Like soy milk instead of dairy. I think the secret is what I learned at my cookbook shoot is if you got to shove those choc chips on top. No one cares if they're delightfully spread out in the cookie.
That is
If you're
so
looking at that
true.
cookie and you can't see 30 choc chips, you don't want a bar of it.
Do you put a nut in there? I love a nut in a cookie.
Well, here's my thing. I use a tablespoon of almond butter in my dough, so it's all spread out and it's got that little nuttiness. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh my God.
I love have you ever made lace cookies where you get like chopped almond and you put like a golden syrup mixture and bake them in the oven so they spread out and make lacy, nutty cookies, and then you attach
No,
them
but
with
that
chocolate?
sounds like a fortune cookie. Have you ever made fortune cookies?
No. We're doing such a cultural exchange right now. What is that?
I looked up how to make a fortune cookie because I had this wild idea that instead of sending an invitation to a lunch or a birthday party,
Oh, as in
I was going to make a fortune cookie and put the details inside.
that is such an iconic idea.
I haven't done it, but it looks absolutely doable. And it sounds like the lace cookies, are they quite pliable when they come out of
Yes.
the...
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, and what
there.
you do is you hang the batter while it's still pliable and hot over a glass.
So how are you getting
forms
your
the-
message in there?
Then you there's always a little crack in the curve on the glass, and you slip it in, and then wait for it to solidify
That's so
in
clever.
Yeah. You're going to do that, aren't
I'm
you?
genuinely going to, and all of the fortunes you get will be like, go vegan.
Yeah,
And
that's
be
right.
something aggressive in there.
Go vegan. Well, I am a part-time vegan.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And people are confused by that. And I'm like, what's so hard to understand? Because when I'm eating like my dal that I make, for example,
Are you a dal queen?
oh God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
So much
You either fully
coconut cream.
prescribe to it, or you won't have a bar of it. Like, there's no casual dal haver. Everyone I meet is like, it's a lifestyle, or I've never heard of it.
I agree. And I'm pulse flexible. I'll put anything in it, like,
That's going on my dating profile as soon
pulse
as it's
flexible?
Pulse flexible.
and I'll have chickpeas in there. Sometimes I might have black beans, which is
Wow.
really unconventional.
I was about to say, very controversial, very brave of you to
It's
say.
sort of Mex-Indian.
Yeah, but I can imagine delightful.
A bean's a bean.
A bean to bean,
And
babe.
so much coconut cream and coconut milk.
Yep.
God, it makes me fart though. What does that say about my constitution?
I think it's working perfectly. Things are entering one end and going out the other. I mean, that's all we can ask half of the time. And whatever happens in between is none of my business.
Has anything got you beat?
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
what?
come up against my brick wall all the time. I will say...
It certainly doesn't sound like it.
'cause I keep it... Yeah, you publish the good... There's no page on the cookbook that says, and here's the one that didn't work.
I tried to do a
I've
Big
asked it
Mac.
up.
Yeah.
Look, there's 2 recipes that have beaten me in my whole life.
Yeah.
One is, on the note of cashew cheese, there's a very famous book called Making Vegan Cheese Making by Miyoko Skinner, who sort of pioneered the movement. And she uses something called Rejuvelac, which is...
That sounds like something you take for indigestion.
I think it might be. It's essentially rotten water. You're meant to put your bean in and let it sprout or, bubble, and you change your water over a week. And at the end, the fermented water you use in your cheeses. So it takes you a week to make this recipe. And each time you've made a cup of rotten water, which is...
What does it smell like?
Rotten water. It smells like septic tank. And you're like, I've worked a whole week of my life, and that's just one ingredient for the next recipe.
But then you have to eat that.
Yeah.
Does the cheese smell like something's been living in a toilet?
Well, I've had herd cheese. I've never successfully made it because each time I get to my cup of rotten water and I go, I'm not going to persevere. This isn't exciting me.
Who does?
That's why I haven't written a book on cheese making, and I've left it to this Miyoko woman.
All right, so that's got you beat. What else?
The only recipe I've written where at a cookbook shoot couldn't replicate results was Portuguese custard tart. I swear I can make the world's best vegan Portuguese custard tart unless there's a camera on me, in which case I make a hot ball of custard that somehow has puff pastry throughout it and on top of it and below
But
it.
how do you make egg custard?
Well, like custard is custard, like if you buy a custard mix at the supermarket.
Custard. I just made custard last night. I made a Christmas trifle.
Oh, did you?
And-
Can I just quickly ask, what's your flavour scheme for this trifle, please?
Well, I'm a traditionalist because it's my grand's recipe, and she was, the eldest of 7 kids, grew up on a cane farm in far north Queensland, middle of nowhere.
My grandparents are from Cane Farms in far north Queensland.
Whereabouts?
In Tully.
I don't know
Tully
it.
near Cairns. Between Cairns and Townsville.
Gran was Mackay
Oh, yeah.
and a town called Kalen.
Oh, I don't know that one, but I know Mackay, unfortunately.
Sounds like something from like the medieval times, don't you think?
It
Kalen.
sounds like something in like a young adult novel, like the main character came from there.
Absolutely. No, it sounds like a character from Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Kiss me, Kalen.
She's broken many a heart, that gal, I know.
Anyway, Gran's was the mini jam rollettes. You must have.
Must.
Bolstered up by Madeira cake, because you can't have all jam rollettes in the middle where no one can see. Madeira cake. Then must be canned peaches.
Yeah.
Must
I'm
be.
all with you so far.
Custard, but not from a carton. Proper.
Must be fresh. So you use eggs for your custard? You do like a
Yes,
classic-
yes. Oh, no, packet. But it's, Foster's.
Make it.
It's in between, the pure egg and pour it out of a carton, right?
Yeah,
So
and
it's-
just to claim that process for yourself, whether or not you really helped.
well, you're using a whisk.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
homemade.
Very integral.
Whipped cream, a lot. And then on the top, there was something. Oh, the jelly.
I was going to prompt.
Got 3 flavours.
Yes.
Mango, raspberry, and port wine.
Are these layered or are they
You make them separately and then you cube them, and then you must. It's all about the arranging of it. So you must use a glass trifle bowl for starters.
If I can't see that, there's no evidence anything's happened.
Correct.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
would you ever make a trifle that you can't see?
Why have you done 17 colours for them to all come out as an eaten mess? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
I agree.
And you've got to slide the jam rollettes on the side.
Yes.
So you can see the beauty of the swirl.
100%.
And then fill in all the gaps with little jewels of jelly, saving your port wine flavour for the top.
That's good. And I like this kind of fruit salad made of jelly.
Yes.
That's good. Like, I really love that vision.
A lot of people do, and this was, it was a big no-no for Gran. She would never set the fruit in the jelly. Had to be separate.
Okay, I agree with her. And
Yeah.
this is where the Grans of the world differentiate. And this is like my favourite thing in life is going to like all my great aunties and asking them to tell me about one recipe and letting them fight and scream at each other over what the exact rules are. And I'm like, what a beautiful culture.
What is a really famous Bird family recipe?
Bird family recipe is mango chutney. Always
Oh, my
the family.
God.
It tastes nothing like another family's mango chutney. It's eaten on Boxing Day. They have it with fried eggs and ham that's left over.
Oh,
and
my
mango
God.
chutney.
I'm so hungry.
Oh, and we use it like currency. Every time you go somewhere, you check your cousin's pantry and you're like, oh, Auntie's given you 4 mango chutneys. You must be a favourite. I love it. I love having, and each sister makes it slightly differently, and we'll go, be embarrassing to put raisins in. I put dates. And you go, I didn't know there was a
Is there a
difference.
curry vibe going on in it? Is there a
It's
spice?
like a tang. Yeah, it's very white people tang, but it's
Yeah,
its own
right. It's a
beautiful
Keen's
vinegary
tang.
malt vinegar in there. Like, it's gorgeous.
I have been wanting to try a recipe. It's like a 70s thing. I
I
might
just
have it
hosted
here.
a 70s brunch.
I know. I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to give you the recipe because I reckon you could recreate it. It's not vegan,
Shit,
but that has
to be honest.
never stopped you before.
In fact, it's kind of egged me on a bit.
Exactly. Chicken, mango chutney, other bits and bobs, of course, but the 3 heroes, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost of the recipe is
trifecta.
chicken, mango chutney, and cream. And it's baked.
It's like a coronation chicken, sort of like that, sort of like.
Maybe.
I'm hearing an apricot chicken, but you've mixed. See, that's so 70s and Australiana,
70s.
and it makes me feel homely and deeply uncomfortable. All at once. I don't like if there's a word for that.
But you're not old enough to remember the 70s. You weren't even
Yeah, but they
born
were
till...
trying to bring it back.
Yeah, I know.
It's a generational trauma.
And I'm here for it. Plus, your mother was probably born in the 70s or something, 60s
Should
maybe.
love you to say that. Yeah, no, we'll say 70.
So what did she cook? What was going on in your kitchen that made you go, yeah, I'm not eating this shit?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mum. I actually confronted her a few months ago where I was like, why do we always have bolognese that was so dark and weird? And she's like, oh, I'd hide spinach in it. I'm like, well, you weren't bloody hiding anything, were you?
It's very, forward thinking.
Is it? Because
Yes.
I think I hate bolognese. I'm like, oh, I didn't know it didn't taste like rotten greenness. I
Yeah,
thought
that's
that was an Italian
sometimes
recipe.
I've got kids and you're so desperate to get some vegetables into them,
Oh, and I can really appreciate
and
that.
there's a fine line. There's a real fine line between going, I've just got to get it in. They haven't had anything good for a week, and then they don't eat anything. You've got to
absolutely
take it
right.
easy. Just got to put a little bit in.
Before I spent more time with children, I'd used to, write recipes and I'd go, what's this hidden veggies crap? I'm proud. I love eating vegetables. And then I met 4-year-olds and I went, I swear to God that sauce is not made of a blended sweet potato. I swear to God, please eat the orange sauce.
I know. It
I get
becomes
it.
an obsession.
It's, maybe not every meal in the world was designed for me specifically, but there's an audience and that's all right.
If you could psychologically, philosophically, ethically eat one meat dish, what would it
I don't think I
be?
missed anything other than, like, I'm a big barbecue boy. Like, I love, if anyone can walk past a barbecue and smell charring of anything and go like, that is a primal response to be like, I must acquire that. So that's, me and my dad, we put a lot of veggies on the barbecue. I put my king oyster mushrooms and
Yes.
my tofu, and I find access to that. But I reckon I'm waiting for vegan KFC. I know other countries have got it, but, I made fried chicken for myself last night. I think that's the last bastion of thing I want to access at 3 a.m. that when I don't want to cook it all for myself. I think that's KFC.
What would your order be at KFC?
I think after all this time, if there was something I could order, it would just be like the pure bucket, like whatever.
Yes.
I just do not give me a potato.
The words you're after, Zach, are original recipe.
Oh, but I think I'm a zinger boy. Is that
Really?
controversial? I'm a spice freak.
It's not controversial given your age. Yeah, because you were around when Zinger was zinging. And
they used to give you the shaky stuff for your fries as well. Like, Zinger was everywhere.
I missed that because when KFC came to Australia, Kentucky Fried Chicken it was called. No, it wasn't. It wasn't cool, KFC.
We had more time in those days to say, full word.
That's it. There's no drive-throughs. You had to go and eat in with the Colonel.
You poor thing.
And so I will be forever and always original recipe, 2 drumsticks, 1 tub of gravy, because the snug fit in the car, dip,
Perfection.
bang, yeah.
See, this is one of my favourite things is there's so much demonisation of junk food, and I could give less of a crap. Like, I love some junk food. But you see these videos and things where they go, have you noticed KFC, they crumb their food 7 times and they pressure fry it for this long? And I go, wonderful that they're being so specific with the notes.
Thank you for that.
I want to say there's a viral photo of what makes up Nutella. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Here's how much sugar, here's how much palm oil. And I went, that's so convenient. I'll write down the ratios and I'll just put coconut milk powder in instead. So I love those sort of exposés because they expose the part I'm looking for.
I've only just discovered coconut milk powder.
Oh, welcome. What are you using it for?
Everything.
Especially for your dal and whatnot. It's such a lovely way to... When you want it
super
more
coconutty
creamy without making it more liquidy, so you can actually intensify the flavour.
Yes.
That's the magic, I reckon.
And also, I found it because I love barley, and I'll just squirrel away there to hide from the world for at any opportunity. Like, I would go to the airport now if I could. And there's this cafe around the corner from where I always stay, and they do this cold drip coffee, coconut coffee. I would fly there for that. It comes in a glass. The bottom of the glass is a thick disc of ice. Like the preparation.
Nowhere does an iced coffee. Like, the reason I opened an iced coffee bar in Brisbane is because I'd done all of Asia and was just obsessed with the exciting flavours and just the way they give it to you. And if I order an iced coffee in Asia, it comes with this little skirt that covers the top so it delivers and it doesn't,
I know.
It doesn't spill. And I'm like, the ingenuity of that alone, and just
I know.
they figured it out. And the flavours of Vietnamese iced coffee.
God.
Bitterest, richest coffee you can, add the sweetest thing you can, and you get the richest way to start a day I could think of on this planet.
I introduced my friend Jack to Vietnamese coffee just from Little Bun Me place. And I have not seen his hand without a cup of ice and coffee in it. What is it? Because also I've watched the guy make it. There's a ceremony involved. It's not just like...
They use the fiend drip, so it's using the, instead of Arabica, which is a lighter bean, they used Robusta, which is robust and dark and dirty. And so you just let that drip in a traditional fiend drip, make really brutal black coffee. Like, I'm a black coffee drinker. You could not drink this by itself.
Really?
You'd have to water it down a little bit. But then condense, Is it
like almost a Turkish coffee almost? Like
yes,
thick...
precisely. It's that level. And then you've just got that richness of condensed milk in there that just makes it enough to actually be consumable. And that's perfection. When I was in Malaysia, they've got kopi o, and they do a similar sort of process, but they toast the coffee beans in sugar and margarine before they brew the coffee. And I was like, you crafty, clever cookies.
In margarine.
In margarine. I love it.
That sounds like, do you remember everyone was into bullet bulletproof coffee.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh my God, it's just a plant-based version of having a cup of butter with a little bit of caffeine in it for breakfast.
The amount of times that that went through me like a train through a tunnel.
That's all I could imagine when it was, the talk of the town, and you're like, what are you talking about?
I would make the error. I started drinking that when I was, still doing breakfast radio. So I would have it first thing in the morning. Sometimes halfway through, Neo, I'd be like, I've got to go. Like the sweat, like it just comes out, ready or not.
Real urgent.
Urgent. I want to talk to you about your iced coffee bar.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about your iced coffee bar. Then we're going to do the 70s vegan brunch menu because I'm salivating.
Oh, yeah.
Whereabouts is your...
An iced coffee bar in Castledine, Brisbane.
I know Castledine.
You are the first person to have acknowledged the existence of Castledine outside of Castledine.
Really? No, my Uncle Bob and Auntie Carmel lived in Castledine.
Oh, my God, I'll say hello.
Please do.
Well, it's in the middle of nowhere, but, when you come to Melbourne, there's so much great vegan stuff if you go to Collingwood or whatever, and I think the reason we chose the middle of nowhere is, it's important to try and diversify and take our deliciousness to people who don't have access.
I agree. Is there a great Chinese restaurant in Castledine? I feel like I've been there.
I mean, Limkey, our neighbour.
That would be...
Oh, my God.
Get out.
Stop it. If you guys are listening, shout out to Limkey and Castledine Central.
Oh, my God. It was so delicious. I remember it so well.
And they're sweethearts. Well, we're next door now. Come on by.
Well, how do you order? Like, what's on the menu?
Oh, well, so we're doing... Oh, my God. We're about to do a Christmas bagel pop-up. So you've got honey glazed ham bagel. You've got camembert, truffle, and cranberry loaded fries. Like...
What, all vegan?
Yeah, Christmas flavours, but done as just junk food nightmares, We've got sticky date lukumades. Pavlova lukumades.
Are you a bit Greek?
Yes, very proudly so. I'm like 1/64th Greek by blood and 100% by heart.
I could tell by the way you said lukumades. And the greatest regret of my life is that I wasn't born Greek.
Oh, I would regret that too if I wasn't able to claim my small amount.
I'm so jealous.
Oh, you'll love... I've just come from Adelaide from their festival, and years ago I went to teach a Greek masterclass in Adelaide, but because I'm like third-gen Greek, my pronunciation sucks. So I did this masterclass, and I was teaching everyone how to make galaktoburako.
Oh, my God, I love galaktoburako. We've got a receptionist, Vicky, who makes it.
Oh, my God, we're going to have a debrief after. Get this mic on the road. But I was calling it galactic bureko. Like, as I'm teaching a masterclass, I'm like, yes, I'm part Greek. Welcome to my culture, galactic bureko.
Were there Greek people in your class?
Yeah, she came up and told me after. This little yaya was like, delicious. What is this word that you keep saying instead of galaktobureko?
So where's your Greekness?
My great-grandmother came to this country from an island called Kefalonia.
Isn't that a cheese?
Good, I'd be the last person to be up to date on the cheese brands, but no, I don't think so.
There's a similar word that's that Greek cheese. I can't think of what it is.
I will believe you. But that's why I love Greek cooking, and I think it's other than like Vietnamese and Indonesian, I think it's one of the best cuisines.
Oh, it is magic. I think it could be my favourite.
It's just such a delightful way to eat, and I love that sort of share plate of... you never really just have one thing to eat.
No.
It's not like you're having a roast tonight and I guess there's some greens. They're like, no. You're having this with a smattering of that.
Yes.
And we'll pull this out next to it.
That just suits me down to the ground. I've never understood those people that you go out for dinner with and they just say you go to Indian and they order the butter chicken and that is theirs.
You locked in too early.
It's like why would you do that when you could have 7?
That's why I was walking around this festival on the weekend handing out plant-based calamari and people going, oh, you're going to finish that? I'm like, no, because you're going to come back and share whatever the hell you get with me in trade for this calamari so I don't just have calamari for lunch.
That's how it works.
Strategize, babe.
What about when you're with somebody and you're eating for the first or second time like it's new? Not dating or anything, just a new person. And the vibe shifts if they get a sniff that you're going to say, can I try that? If I get an indication that that person doesn't want to give me a little bite, then they are dead to me. I can't forgive it and I can't understand it.
See, I think your problem is you're getting into that situation. Like, as a vegan, I've never gone to a restaurant without, like, thoroughly looking at the menu. And, like, I'll do the dance for the waiter.
Yes.
But I'm like, oh, no, 3 weeks ago, I settled down on the shakshuka. Like, I'd already decided. And so, coming with that strategy means that before they make decisions, you can make it for them.
I couldn't agree more, but apparently that's very bad manners to preload on the menu.
You're like, poor little me, I've got to kind of direct this ship. I'm ordering on behalf of you because I also want to try the souvlaki.
Well, it just makes sense.
I don't manipulate
That's
others
trying
often,
2 dishes or 3 dishes instead of 1. You don't have to come back then. Do you know what I mean?
You don't have to come back. That's what, whenever I look for good food, I'm like, I just want to get it done once, never do it again.
Now let's talk about Zacchary Bird's Slammin' 70s vegan brunch menu.
Woo.
What the hell is this?
Well, I'm the boozy brunch king, and we've sort of run out of theme ideas, so we're on to decades. But the 70s is such a funny decade to do a food menu and also like games for. Like we did The Price is Right inflation edition.
Oh my God.
And having people try and guess that it cost 9 cents for a litre of petrol in 1970.
Did it?
Yeah, it's the most funny, but also like everyone laughed and then they kind of trudge back to their table and sit there quietly as they reflect on it.
Oh my God, 9 cents?
9 cents a litre.
Out of these, what is your jam? Prawn cocktail. I made a real prawn cocktail last Saturday for my girlfriends, and can I tell you, there is no crowd pleaser quite like it.
It's a rite of passage. Whether or not you have strong feelings either way, you're going to have to eat a prawn cocktail and get into it.
And it's so easy to make tastier than it used to be.
Yes.
It really is.
But for me, it's just it's Aussie Christmas. Like that sort of like that.
I agree.
And so much of our Christmas is a bastardization of, you've got a US style roast with some seafood starter. You're like, no, let's hold on to the prawn cocktail, the pavs, the good Aussie-ness.
Oh, God. The trifle, if you will. I'm really thrilled to see the vol au vent.
You had to do it to them.
I love vol au vents.
Yeah, you just don't see them anywhere these days.
Do you make the cases, or are the cases from the supermarket vegan already?
I hired a little chef to do this. I didn't touch those vol au vents. I couldn't tell you. I think he made them.
But there'd be butter in them, wouldn't there? No.
I think that's why we make them. But we used fable mushroom, like a smoky mushroom filling for them, and it was delightful.
Shit, I love vol au vents. I'm going to make them this weekend. I don't think my kids have ever had a vol au vent.
I have never met you or them, and I'm going to assume they haven't.
That's bad parenting.
No. But for me, the 70s is things suspended in Jell-O that have no place being there.
Yeah.
I think there was a time that it could happen, and it was only in that window. And I think what a delight. Like, I love the images from that era of just shoving crap into Jell-O. And from
olives. Like savoury things.
So, and it was in pure lime Jell-O that tasted exactly like that sweet lime Jell-O, one of my favorite. I collect old cookbooks. And
Me too.
The specialness. There's one I've got from, I think it's the early 80s. It's called Gourmet Vegetarian Cooking, and the front cover is, I shit you not, a steamed cauliflower. I'll send this photo to you. A steamed cauliflower with just chunky salsa sitting on the top. And this is the front cover image. Like the only image they got
hero
in
dish.
colour. The only dish photographed in the book. And they were like, that's gourmet cooking. I'm like, what a beautiful era where that was gourmet cooking.
Well, we've come full circle. We started talking about fruit suspended in jelly and my grand's rules against it.
Oh my God, you're right.
And then we ended with the savoury version. I know that we started with the compatibility test, but I think it's very clear. You and I would get along very, very well, Zacchary Bird.
I think I win.
Thank you so much for coming on the ChrissieCast. You're a legend.
It's been a pleasure being here, and may all of your fruit be suspended in Jell-O.
Do not forget to send me the photo of that hideous cauliflower.
I'll be punishing you with it any moment now. Thanks for having me.